this video, I'll be sharing with you a tutorial on how to cut this stylish mesh ruche dress. And this dress is from Pink Chick on Instagram. So to start, here is my pattern and I'll be cutting this on a miniature size because this dress is actually very long. Now the measurement you need is your shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to waistline, then 7 inches to get your hip point, and measure from your waist to knee point and mark, and then get the full length of your dress. And while marking the full length of your dress, please add extra inches to it so that it can give you that flowy effect at the lower part. For example, if the length of your dress is 40 inches, use like 50 or 45. Now go ahead to mark your shoulder divided by 2 here plus half, because this dress has a sleeve, and then go ahead to come down by 1 inch here. After marking this, go ahead to mark a basic neckline of 3 inches by 2.5 or 3 inches by 2 inches, depending on how high you want the neckline to be. So after marking that, I'll place my curved rule, which I'll use and go ahead to connect to this point. After connecting here, you want to go ahead to connect all the way from your shoulder to this point. The next step is to go ahead to find your chest line, right, which is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5. Go ahead to rule out a straight line there. Now whatever measurement you have here, you place it at the chest line. Now you're going to place your ruler and connect. After connecting, go ahead to place your tape and measure here. Divide what you have into 2 and come out by half. Here, mark your bust circumference divided by 4. Connect from the midpoint all the way up and connect to the other side. After you're done connecting, for this pattern you don't need a dart, sorry. Now you're going to add your bust circumference divided by 4, add 1 inch for your sewing allowance. Mark your under bust circumference and add 1 inch for your sewing allowance. Mark your waist circumference divided by 4 and add 1 inch. Now on your hip, after marking your hip circumference divided by 4, right, you're going to add extra half inch to your pattern. Then you will now add like a sewing allowance to it. So this is because of the ruche part, right? If it's so fitted on your body, it will not easily free at the hip point of your pattern. Now from your knee point, come up by 2 inches and mark. Now whatever measurement you have here, go ahead to take out 1 inch from it and mark at the lower part, right? So for this pattern, this particular video that was sent to me has like an A-line shape, while this one is just more like a straight cut flowing down. So I'm going to minus 1 inch for my hip, and if you look at that dress, you notice that the slight flay effect is towards the lower part, right? Now I'll first of all go ahead to connect my pattern. I'm going to connect from the bust, under bust, waist, hip point, and towards the lower part. So remember, at your hip, you're going to add half inch to your hip measurement. This is to allow the ruche effect that you're going to have there to form very well. Like if it's tight on your body, it might be uncomfortable for you. Now at the lower part, you can go ahead and mark your hip circumference divided by 4. So the flay extension is not much, just add extra 4 inches to what you have there and connect. So I'll just go ahead to cut this out, and after cutting this out, I'm going to go ahead to use this to cut out the back pattern. Now to cut out the back pattern, I added like a zipper. So when I was done with almost cutting, that was when I found out that there's no zipper at the back. So I'll just go ahead to cut out that part that has a zipper much later, right? I'll just go ahead to cut. Now if you want to add a zipper to yours, you can also go ahead to do that, but I'll be working with what I was sent, so there's no zipper at that part, and you know this fabric is also stretchy. Now we are going to slash both the front and the back pattern. This is to give that ruche effect. Now while cutting out the front part, I will slant it while cutting out. right? Why for the back I cut it out on a straight line. So you notice the front part of this ruche is actually fuller than that of the back. Now I'll just go ahead to cut this into different pieces. So that doesn't mean the standard you should cut out or the pieces you should have is 4. So if you want to like cut out more pieces, like spread it up to 5 to 6 and create the slash and spread effect, it is still okay. Now I'm just going to place this on another pattern paper. I'll go ahead to rule this line to serve as a guide while placing my pattern. Now I'm just going to get my number 1 and place. Now when I'm placing this pattern, I'll tilt it a bit. I won't make it that straight. Remember that what we cut is in a slanted form, and I'll pin. The reason why I cut it that way is so that I'll have a fuller effect towards the middle, which will serve like that flowy effect we have at the front of the pattern. I'll go ahead to place and I will slant, right, and I will pin. Now after doing that, I'll bring the third pattern also. If your pattern is not touching the line, it is still okay. The line is just serving as a guide to how to place this. It's not like it's going to meet it at that point. Now while placing, I'm going to go ahead to trace out the sides also. Make sure that the side you have is matching, right? Please don't shift or change the shape of the side when you're tracing out, because it has to match the hip side of the other part of your pattern, right? After placing the third pattern, you're going to place the fourth pattern. Then I will be introducing the lower part of this pattern to this dress, right? So when I was doing that, I didn't know that my phone actually stopped recording. So this is my pattern 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then I took the lower part of the dress, which we cut out earlier, right, and I joined it back. That is from the waist towards the hip point that we came down at the lower part that we traced out. Merge it back to your pattern again. Draw a line connecting from the upper part of your waist to the lower part of your skirt. After this, you can now go ahead to cut out the excess that you have at the front part. So while I was recording, I didn't know that my phone actually stopped recording this part. So that is why I'm explaining this part to you. That is, after cutting your pattern, you spread it and then join it back to the lower part. So after joining it back, I use my tape to hold it down, and I'll go ahead to bring the upper part of this pattern and I'll place. Now you notice if you place it this way, you have a slanted effect. When you place it on your pattern, you won't be able to draw a straight line or cut it on fold because of this slanted effect at the front part. So you will notice a little gaping by the side. It is still okay. What you have to do is to go ahead to tape it up, because we are still doing like a ruche effect there, so it will just add to the spreading of the ruche by the side of the dress. So also what I'll do is to go ahead to repeat the same process here. This part I added is not really that straight, so what I'll do is I'll slant it this way. Make sure that this center part beats, and then you will now have a opening by the side. Go ahead to close it up. This is the side that you're still going to ruche up, so the extra opening there does not really affect anything because you're going to ruche this up. So remember that back pattern that we cut out earlier? You're going to take it and place on that. Now if you notice, we have not yet slashed it out, so I want to use it to serve as a guide at the pattern, right, to know how to gather or pleat out this part. So you're going to get your needle and thread, and you're going to go ahead to gather it, like sew it and gather the side, or you can just pleat out the sides very little. Now I want to use the side of the back to know how, or the measurements where I will ruche it back to. Now if you don't want to use this method, before going ahead to slash and spread the front pattern, go ahead to measure the original distance starting from the waist to where the ruche will stop, right? If not, you can just use the pattern of the back to pleat it out and then use your needle and thread to sew the side to create that ruche. So after I've gotten what I want, I'll just go ahead to unpin it. Also remember, you're going to gather the center. You can go ahead to add an elastic to it to create this, or you can sew like a channel and pass your elastic through the wrong side of this fabric to get this ruche effect we have here. Then join it to the side, but before joining to the side for the back, I'm equally going to slash and spread it out. After taking it out, remember that I added like a zipper at the front of this dress, so I'll just go ahead to cut it out also. Now I want to mark where the ruche started on this pattern, that is the front. Now for this part, the ruche we have at the front is fuller than that of the back, so from that point I'll just go ahead to slash it out, and after slashing it I'll label it. Now I'll go ahead to cut out this zipper allowance I added, which I'm not meant to add, and after cutting that out I'll slash out this pattern. So this 3 is not a constant. Now while opening your pattern, I did not even explain. Now, any measurement you use for the front, that is what you use for the back. That is the spacing in between. Like after the first one, if you use 1 inch, the next second one you add that same 1 inch, right? You add the same spacing before each one that you labeled. Now after doing this, you just place this back and join your pattern back. Join the upper part to the front part and also join at the other side. Now while joining this, you can go ahead to trace this out. Now if you notice, the back does not really have that slanty effect. This is because we did not slant the slash and spread. Now what you now do is gather the side to match that of the side of the front. Now after doing that, you're going to use your elastic or like to run a channel at the back of your front dress and also for that of the back, and you're going to create that ruche at the center of this dress for both the front pattern and the back pattern of this dress. So if you have any question, go ahead to ask.